It just so turns out that when the federal government does their job, and then the Democrats get in front of the country and go, well, you're just really super mean and awful and racist in committee hearings, it doesn't go very well. It doesn't go very well in a couple of ways. First of all, Representative Linda Sanchez of California, I told you, the Californians brought their worst. In a committee hearing with Scott Bessent, everyone's out there trying for their social media clips. And again, I've told you this before. You know, I hate congressional committee hearings. I hate them. They are just a way for people to get up on C-SPAN 1, C-SPAN 2, C-SPAN 3, C-SPAN 8, the Ocho, Corncob TV, and get little campaign ads, little social media clips of just yelling at members of the administration. That's all committee hearings are for. They're not like Representative Brandon Gill of Texas, who just asks questions of the committee hearing witnesses. Instead, what you have is Bessent being dragged before and not asked about these cases of fraud that are being tackled, but about nonsense. Here's Representative Linda Sanchez making a fool out of herself.
We follow the instructions of our lawyers, and we obey the law.
I hope that you're proud of your performance today, Mr. Secretary, because
I hope you get some social media clips.
I think it's pretty safe to say.
Boom. By the way, hope you get your social media clips, correct.
That this is probably the most corrupt Treasury Department in our nation's history.
So and while you
dance around questions to protect Trump, Americans are suffering in Trump's spiraling economy.
Now, she's accusing the Treasury Department of covering up corruptly for President Trump. If you're going to accuse a department of being corrupt for President Trump, now you can say that the DOJ is being corrupt or is being friendly towards the President of the United States. And if that's the case, I'd like to see your evidence and we could argue about it. But that's where I would assume you would put your focus. Going after the Treasury Department, what? Because they floated a $250 commemorative celebration, $250 bill with Trump's face on it? That's your getcha? That? Okay. Radio crew, we're going to send you over to the commercial. Try not to accuse the Treasury Department of corruption and fraud while you're gone. It's the Tony Kinnett Cast here on the Daily Signal.
Inflation is now rising faster than average hourly wages. Gas prices are at an all-time high with the war in Iran. The cost of groceries has risen 3.2% over the past years, and prices on most goods have gone up because of Trump's tariffs. So I don't see how you could call that anything other than a failure of the most corrupt Treasury Department in history.
So you hear the other members on the committee, on the her left and right in the chairs, are just saying, "What are you doing? This is the guy that's in charge of the Treasury Department. What does he have to do with any of this?" And this nonsense continued all over the place. Speaking of, again, we're talking about gas prices. Representative John Larson of Connecticut, a man who once tried to beat J.B. Pritzker in an eating competition and almost won. I know. Representative John Larson's jowls act as a pendulum if you put them, next to a grandfather clock. They bear a striking resemblance. Anyway, Representative John Larson starts demanding questions about the gas tax, a thing enacted by the laws of Congress, to the Treasury Secretary. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Hamilton, but while there's a lot of, Lin-Manuel Miranda rapping about the Treasury Department, never once is there any kind of a tax on goods effectuated by the Treasury Department. That ain't how that works, Limp Bizkit. Here you go.
Are you in favor of eliminating the gas tax?
We have moved to...
Are you in favor of eliminating the gas tax?
We would like to work
Are you able to answer that, or is that not
Well, if I'm not interrupted, I can, Congressman.
Well, I'm waiting for your answer.
We have asked Congress to move to eliminate the gas tax. That is done through statute.
Correct. It's like, well, you're asking me if I'm in favor. Again, this is like putting me in front of a committee and saying, Tony, do you think that the Chicago Bulls are a poorly run team? And I would start to answer, well, I don't really know very much about the NBA. I don't like the NBA. And I would get cut off. Well, so you think the Bulls are being run amazingly then, do you? No, I didn't. Let me answer the question. That's how these committees work. It's nonsense. And Bessent, again, trying to answer the questions. By the way, Kevin Spears, thank you very kindly for the $2 super chat. It really has gotten so out of control.
You have moved that. So you're in favor of eliminating the gas tax.
We have asked for that.
So we can join bipartisanly today because you're in favor to eliminate the gas tax.
Again, the White House has asked for it, sir.
That is correct, by the way. Now, when Republicans have put forward requests or a lowering of the federal gas tax, or asking states for a lower suspension on gas tax on terms of a reciprocal funding maneuver, like temporarily. Democrats in committee have voted those things down. Again, just I know I'm not surprised, and you're not surprised, but this just is the same performative. It doesn't get any worse than Judy Chu today. So Representative Judy Chu of California probably humiliated herself worse than I've seen, well, since the Rubio hearings. This one's pretty bad. Here you go.
Recently, President Trump proudly claimed that he doesn't think about Americans' financial situation when it comes to the war with Iran.
Now, again, we all know that the president's saying that he's not allowing Iran to get a better deal with the United States from their side by Iran saying, oh, the economy is going to be bad. You better get out of this fast. We've played that in full context. Not difficult, but that's what she's trying.
I want to ask you, Secretary Bessent, do you agree with President Trump that you also do not care about Americans' financial situations?
Congresswoman, who was the president during World War I?
Can you?
No,
Are you refusing to answer my question?
No, I'm asking, who was the president during World War I?
I don't know, but...
Oh, yikes. That is one large capital yikes indeed. I mean, you know, you're a member. If you're a member of the Democrat Party, and for example, Radio Crew, you're just now joining us, welcome back. In this instance, if all you have to know, you're talking about administrative state, you're talking to a member of the administrative state, if you're going to lecture an individual on certain areas of policy that you are supposed to look over, again, things changed drastically for the Internal Revenue Service, things changed drastically for the income tax, things changed drastically for the entire U.S. Treasury Department during World War I. Wilson's not exactly a small-time president. You don't even know who the president during World War I is?
Clearly, you are not answering my question.
World War I was. But let me tell you.
So I'm clearly getting the idea that you do not want to answer whether you agree with President Trump that you do not care about Americans' financial situations.
President Trump does care about Americans' financial situation.
Well, he actually said that he doesn't.
No, that is a truncated thing, like everything is.
And he's correct. And again, the point that Bessent is trying to articulate there, and again, getting stomped over because, again, the committee hearings aren't actually about getting into any of the details on actual policy. What Bessent is trying to make the case, the only big case he's trying to make here, is that in the United States, the president, during a time of military action, might have to take certain things into account regarding U.S. economic policy in order to make a foreign policy maneuver. The idea that if any other country could possibly have an impact on the U.S. economy, that we just now let the rest of the world do whatever, that won't harm Americans. You know, the Americans just take a very weak perspective and get screwed over forever because, oh man, it might temporarily raise something here or there is ridiculous. But again, California, not sending its best. Judy Chu, excellent, stellar stuff. The biggest own of all, and this is the last big thing Democrats are trying to pull out here, is that everything has to do with Donald Trump supposedly covering up for Epstein and Israel. It's a combination maneuver. Essentially, Tucker Carlson is writing the Democrats' talking points for them. That kind of crap. This came down to Senator Wyden, where, you know, Bessent decided he wasn't going to take it anymore. Pretty stellar stuff. Here you go.
Senator Wyden has mendaciously slandered the Treasury building in an attempt to cover up his son having an investment meeting with Jeffrey Epstein to ask for funding. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Let's be clear here. Nobody is interested in the ramblings of a capo in the most corrupt regime in American history. We want to get some facts about this deal. That's what we're here for.
Oh, interesting. So when the shoe's on the other foot, and it's actually, wait a minute, Wyden was soliciting, you know, donations from Epstein for a good long while. All of a sudden, we don't need to hear, this doesn't have anything to do with this committee. Hang on a second there. Excellent. I love the double standard. You can see Representative, Madeline Dean tried the very same nonsense over on the Rubio side. Because once we get over to kind of the foreign policy matters, things get extra silly really, really quickly. So first of all, the president made some statements today about the Islamic Republic of Iran and kind of the hokey pokey there. We'll get to that in a minute. Before we get there, Rubio did get into a little bit of a fun-filled fistfight on this very same matter with Madeleine Dean. Here you go. It's pretty special.
Distribution.
Well, because one of those were in cahoots with Hamas. And we saw an incredible amount of the aid flow into Hamas's hands.
Reclaiming my time, the aid was held up at the border by Israel, and you know it. You got to fix your rules here. You can't even answer a question. You're not following the rules. You're very familiar with how this works.
No, I don't. I never served in the House. This is a weird rule where you ask a question and I can't answer.
Okay, so to frame this up a little bit, Madeleine Dean is suggesting that Rubio is like in some kind of secretive deal with Israel to hold up aid from all of these poor innocent, these poor innocent Palestinian Authority people. And, you know, again, Rubio points out, as all of the evidence states, in fact, as Hamas admitted very clearly, they were taking the aid at the border and they would often shoot the semi-driver who was trying to bring in the aid, and then they would just take the aid and give it over to Hamas. So Madeleine Dean cuts him off because, again, nothing in these committees is about getting you, the American people, answers. You say, why do I point that out? The reason C-SPAN exists is to give you answers about what is being spoken of and to in these committee hearings. The reason a public committee is public is so that you, out there watching this excellently produced show by a very handsome Hoosier, can know what the heck's going on in our nation's capital from the people that you sent. But that's not what goes on here. And so what we're seeing is I've always known the whole reclaiming my time theater was bad, but they're getting worse at it because, as Donald Trump has brought forward in this administration, he's kind of shattered the glass in which you need to treat all of the people acting like children seriously.
Would you please add time to the clock?
Nope.
So after trying to talk over Rubio, and saying, well, is it true that you're bad and evil? And then Rubio starts dancing. Well, actually, how did you know that Israel? Okay, well, I didn't. And also, Jeffrey Epstein, all that crap. Finally, she then turns around after Rubio starts to answer and says, oh, reclaiming my time. Mr. Chairman, can you give me more time to yell at Marco Rubio? And now a lot of these chairmen and chairwomen are saying, no, you're posturing like a child. You don't get more time. The time is allotted for you to ask questions and the person to answer. If you're not going to play this game, no, you're not getting extra time. And everyone laughs at her because she's, ridiculous. So the performative theater is really, really embarrassing. I mean, they were doing like pre-show tailgating influencer videos to go into this. I mean, you actually have like Cory Booker doing the, hey, what's up, gang? I'm getting ready to interview Marco Rubio. Make sure to hit that bell. I mean, that kind of crap. Please don't take my word for it. Here was Senator Cory Booker, angry eyes himself of Joyzy, doing a little, hey guys, I'm getting ready to.
So here's some breaking news about the Iran war. Marco Rubio, under oath, said to me under questioning that the Iran war is over. We all know this is not true. That very same evening, according to our own military, we carried out strikes again on Iran. This war is not over, what he said.
I love it. So, hey, guy, I mean, again, this is not working for you, dude. It's not. Same thing with Representative Ted Lieu. He tried the same, just very, very strange, bizarre influencer style stuff. Again, if you want my job, dude, start a podcast, get out there and do it. I mean, again, give it to Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz doesn't get performative in Senate committee hearings. He has The Verdict with Ted Cruz, where he then does like pundit work.
I am on my way to go question Secretary of State Marco Rubio. I'm going to ask Secretary Rubio about Donald Trump's health and cognitive abilities. There's been multiple meetings where Donald Trump has literally fallen asleep while Marco Rubio is talking. Something is very wrong with the president's health or cognitive abilities, and we're going to get to the bottom of it.
Okay, so first of all, Columbo, no. Number two, dose. I seem to remember in the last administration, it was a very, see no, hear no, speak no evil kind of situation about old Joseph R. Dead to the World Biden. He was busy stroking out before going to Waffle House, I guess. But beside that, what actually ended up happening? Because you get a little overconfident about, I'm getting ready to go duke it out with Marco Rubio. Not the guy to do this with. This ain't Pam Bondi. This ain't Kristi Noem, who you can kind of get riled up like a Yorkie You know what I'm talking about? You go into a house with a small dog and you start talking really excited. You can rile up the small dog. No, not the case with Rubio. Didn't go the way he wanted. Here you go.
Sleeping right next to you.
No, he's not.
If Donald Trump cannot stay awake at these important meetings where the cameras are rolling, imagine what he's like when the cameras are not there. So I'm going to ask you, have you been at classified meetings where Donald Trump has fallen asleep or had trouble staying awake?
I've never been at any meeting where, and the things you're showing me now, he was not falling asleep. And
So-
I think
so
it's
you're
outrageous
lying
that I'm before
again.
the Foreign
You're
Affairs
lying
Committee of the United States
consistently
House of Representatives
to
asking questions
Congress.
about sleep.
I love this. I do. So did he do this? And Rubio's like, no. And also, it's a leading question. You just said, so if all of this is true, when did you stop beating your wife? And Rubio's like, that's not how this works. And then Ted's like, so you admit you were beating your wife. Incredible. Didn't go very well at all. And Rubio is the guy to do this because, again, not acting crazy, performative, insane, pretty on par with a lot of things. And regarding the foreign policy situation, I should point out, a little bit of flair for some sarcasm and some dropping some sweet references. That never hurts.
So Hezbollah is not just a challenge to Israel, it's a challenge to Lebanon, to the Lebanese state and the Lebanese people. And we are hopeful that we can create a paradigm in which Lebanon's government and Israel can work together to disarm Hezbollah and allow the people of Lebanon to reclaim its country. But it's complex. This has been going on since, since OJ had isotoners in those commercials. So
that since OJ had isotoners, that's a lovely little shout back to Power, little Kanye West lyric. Okay, clever. By the way, if you think that this is just laying out a ground for why the Trump administration is actually effectuating some things that Americans are looking for, that's very true. But this also is starting to function. The man's generating momentum. He is. As far as 2028 is concerned, again, I'm not trying to get into the weeds on, who are we looking at? The man's competence is not slowing down here. Radio crew, we're going to send you guys to the commercial break there. Be on the lookout for OJ with isotoners. It's the Tony Kinnett here on the Daily Signal. Don't act like I never told you. All right. The most awkward moments were either from Representative Sarah Jacobs, also from California, which the gotcha style committee stuff. This is not how to make the pitch. Right now, it's the congressmen and women who are on display, not Rubio. Rubio's around for a while. Again, the way that wars work with the American people, military operations work. If at the end they are successful, Americans like them. The Gulf War, during the first Gulf War, was not popular. It wasn't. After it was over, and we had kicked Saddam Hussein in the teeth, it was very popular with Americans. That war single-handedly, that and also Panama for that matter, single-handedly ended the Vietnam syndrome of the United States. It matters. At the end of it, what you got out of there. Not limping home sadly and softly. And again, we're going to get to that here in a couple of minutes. But as far as Marco Rubio here, he's not the one on display. And the congressmen and women know this. So they're trying to cut these little campaign ads so they can say they're fighting Trump and all of this unpopular stuff. That's not going to be enough to get people out on the blue side or the red side to go and vote. It's not. It's not driving people to the polls. Energizing the base isn't enough because it's not even energizing the entire base. So anyway, Representative Sarah Jacobs of California has decided the way that she's going to sway the country is to talk about the 2020 election. Honey, sweetie baby, best of luck to you.
Last question for you. Mr. Secretary, who won the 2020 presidential election?
I'm not here to answer a question. We're talking about 2020. This is a Foreign Affairs Committee.
Okay, great. You can't answer the question, even though we all
know
know that President
Biden won. I don't answer the
won.
question because the Secretary of State, I do not participate in domestic political issues.
This is not about domestic political issues.
Certainly
This is about our democracy.
You're asking me to opine, just like I don't do campaign rallies.
It seems like
I don't do because as Secretary of State, we're not supposed to. That's been the long tradition of the department, and you should know that if you've been on this committee for any period of time.
Mr. Secretary, it seems like you have an issue admitting facts. You can't say that the president lost the 2020 election, just like you won't admit President Trump is losing this reckless war of choice, and just like you couldn't admit that the shoes the president bought you were too big. You clearly don't know what winning.
Oh, you got him Rubio's shoes because there was this meme on Twitter that like Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson shared where Rubio was in small shoes or big shoes or something. Aha, I got him. Yeah, okay.
Means, and not because the facts are unclear to you, it's because telling the truth would cost you your job.
All this is pre-written down. Do you see it? She's reading from the script. If you're going to do this kind of a thing, so I do this show with just bullet points of where I plan to go next. I don't have all my little jokes and quips written down because, see, I'm actually smart enough to come up with this kind of stuff. The ADHD doesn't hurt. I don't have to script out all my little gotcha points. See, the thing is, in politics and communications in general, if you don't have the talent for it, reading your jokes, your quippy gotchas off a script is humiliating for you. Also, not the entire voter base of this country, not even the vast majority of this country's voter base is constantly on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all the social media platforms. This idea that you gotta only appeal to the youths, they tried that in the Kamala Harris campaign. You know what? It didn't work. No lessons learned.
And the American people are entitled to a Secretary of State who tells them the truth even when the president doesn't want to hear it. And my constituents, our service members, deserve better. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Okay. Exciting, beautiful, hilarious, super duper goofy, good for you. I mean, I don't recommend doing anything in the way that those on the left have run in these committees.